Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. The world needs to hear your message and your story, so don't deny the world of that gift within you that the universe has given you. Someone out there needs to hear your story because it will support them in feeling hope, inspired, and even transformed. Do you want to discover how I help get my clients out of their own way, show up, and confidently share their message? I would love to extend an invitation to you to join me in my free masterclass, Start Your Own Podcast from Idea to Implementation, on Wednesday, April 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can find the registry link in the show notes. Hope to see you there. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Marilyn York. She is an attorney and the owner and founder of Exclusive Family Law Office. How you doing, Marilyn? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm good. How are you? Thank you.
I am amazing, and I'm so excited and looking forward to jumping in. So with that being said, let us jump right in. So First of all, Marilyn, what inspired you to go into law in the first place?
It was not my idea. It was my father's idea. I was a little child, so I don't have any attorneys in the family. I had no experience with law other than maybe the occasional TV show as a kid. But my dad, like every parent, you're so good at arguing, you should be a lawyer. Literally how it happened. And I don't know if he's got a Jewish grandma gene in his lineage, but it was doctor or lawyer for me and my brother. I was like, okay, well, I don't like blood, so I guess we're going the lawyer route. So, really, that's it. So from like 10, 11 on, I said I was going to be a lawyer, even though I didn't know what that meant in practice.
Now, when you were going through school for law, did you know then at that time that you wanted to focus your law career specifically on helping and working with and representing men in divorce and custody, or was that something that just came to you later?
Well, so at least I'm smarter than the average American, because when my dad said be a lawyer, I decided I should figure out what that meant before I spent $100,000 on my education. And so when I was 16, I went and got my paralegal certification from the local university on the weekends and became a certified paralegal. Then I got a job as a paralegal and put myself through college working as a paralegal, and I fell into family law as the job I just happened to get and loved it. I thought it was the coolest. I mean, come on, I'm like a 16-year-old girl. I'm getting paid to dig through people's underwear drawers. It's the coolest thing you could ever do as a female teenager. You know, like it's like Days of Our Lives, but you get to meddle in it, ask questions, get to know people, manipulate outcomes in some factor. And so I just loved it. I thought it was amazing. And so I did that for 4 years and then went to law school. Once in law school, yes, my intention was always to practice family law specifically, but the extra specialization into men did come about in law school. I had a female friend in law school, and we just generally had male friends more than we had female friends. And we noted that with one another and had a conversation one day brainstorming. I went through law school in 2 years instead of 3. So this is our second year of law school, so the final year. And we're brainstorming about, wouldn't it be cool, because we both wanted to do family law, to represent men, just because we like them better in the emotional connective sense. And we feel like they listen to the cross-gender advice better. Like we already knew that. And I'm only 20 when I start law school. I'm like 22 when I graduate. So I'm still a baby, but was aware already that the cross-gender representation worked because I'd done it in the paralegal sense for 4 years. And so we both said, okay, she's going to go back to Fresno, where she married one of our cohorts at school, and they're going to go where he's from, and she's going to start a firm. I'm going to go to Reno, and we're going to see if it resonates with people, if we specialize in representing men. And our intention was just the camaraderie and the connection between cross-gender representation. And also we were not unaware that men made more money still. So we're like, oh, they'll pay our bill better. That was the extent of our expertise in this brilliant plan and how it came about. Then I did it, and so did she. And then I started realizing just how gender biased the laws were, just how much children needed dads, and how unempowered men were, and how they came into my firm defeated. And so I love to say I was a super feminist that knew on the front end why it was important. I did not. I just liked dudes and they have more money. Then I figured out later organically and through research, because I am a lawyer, that it was a really important specialization. And it resonated immediately in the community with people like professors, which was surprising.
Yeah.
Because they specialize in college, like you have a major. So they were like, yes, this makes sense. The rest of the city made fun of me. Judges thought it was embarrassing and barely tolerated me. And I was very careful not to be like, you're doing that because he's a man. I did that last week, though. You better believe at this juncture in my career, 25 years, my client is a stay-at-home dad, and the court ordered he has to move out of the house within 45 days and needs to immediately look for work. And I'm like, not in a million years would you order that to a stay-at-home mom, Your Honor. Not ever. I don't care if there's a prenup. Not ever would you do that. He's been a stay-at-home dad for 8 years, and you're like, go get a job. I want you to do that with all the women, and you laugh at me when I ask, and they get to be unemployed forever, but he has 5 seconds. She's like, I didn't say he had to get one. I said he has to look. I'm like, no, he'll get one in 10 seconds. He's got skills. So would a woman if she tried. You just won't make her. And she was like, I do not agree. I'm being gender biased. I'm like, well, you are. Like,
wow. So you stand your ground and you don't take shit.
No, I'm not.
I love it.
It's total crap. It was total crap. That ruling was totally different than I've seen on the other side, which is where I usually am. Usually my dudes are the breadwinners. There's often a prenup, and the court ignores the prenup and makes us pay until we get to trial or settle. So anyway, I went on a tangent. So yes, that is how my specialization started. And then I earned my reputation for being a true advocate and having real reasons for doing what I do over the years. And now I don't get any grief for it anymore. I get hate mail, but I don't get
hate mail.
Oh yeah, all the time. Usually women in the community, international hate mail. I do not
really.
I do not get grief from my colleagues, though. I do not get any grief from the court. So
international mail.
Yeah, because I went on Tosh.now and the web redemption. So every time that airs, I get Australian hate mail and Russian love letters. So apparently Russian women think I'm their people. I don't know if I should be insulted or really excited about that. I was like, they're kind of a wicked, brilliant bunch. So I was like, meh. I didn't know Australian women were so soft, though. I was like, ugh, I like Australia too, but those are not my people.
I love it.
Comedy Central too, people. This wasn't like a documentary film, in my opinions. Jesus. I hope
people need to lighten the fuck up.
Seriously, it's Comedy Central. I hope he gets hate mail with my episodes too, not just me. I was like,
maybe you should reach out and ask him.
I know he gets too much hate mail to possibly sort through it as it relates to my episode or the white rapper in his grandma's basement. Who knows? So that does it.
I know through previous conversation with you that your educational journey, and you briefly mentioned it there, you got through law school quite quickly. And I mean, it's very intense, but you did it in 2 years. Can you share a little bit about that and what the normal rate is?
So I have a young summer birthday. I'm a September baby, so I was young for my grade my whole life. In fact, the kindergarten teacher tried to hold me back because the first day of kindergarten, I did not say my name in the circle. And she said I wasn't ready. I'm like, oh my God, asshole. Like, I'm shy. I turned 5 that day. It was my birthday. And I'd never been in a classroom environment. Anyway, she tried to hold me back. And my dad was like, hell no. Thank God. Because I ended up graduated early from high school, not because I'm genius. That's what's cute about this. It's kind of one of those things that makes me look smart. It's not why. It's because my parents are dicks and they moved me from San Jose, California to Reno, Nevada in January of my 8th grade year. And the first day of school, some girl turned around and said in front of the whole class, "You are so ugly. Have you ever had a boyfriend?" And I was like, I'm already kind of a slut. I'm thinking like, dude, I get some dudes. But I didn't say that because I was, despite getting dudes, shy. So I just cried. I was like, oh my God. And by the way, this chick is a fat asshole. She's not hot. So I'm immediately confused about the weird Reno culture. The popular girls are not attractive. And she's going to ugly shame me. But I'm like, I got to get out of this shithole. This is not my place. I thought they'd be excited to have new meat at school because it's so cliquey and small. No, they like ate the new girl. And I am 5'10" now. In 8th grade, I was 5'9". So I was taller than every 8th grade boy when I was in 6th grade because I grew very young and developed quickly. And so at 10, I started my period, TMI. But I was in it. Of course I'm getting dudes. I'm the only one with boobs in 6th grade. Are you serious? But anyway, so they made up stories about me saying that I'd failed 3 grades and I was really 18 and still in 8th grade or something. Because I looked older. So I'm like, actually, I'm young, whatever. So I go to Reno High, and the first day of school, I go to the counselor. I'm like, how do I get out of this shithole? And he was like, you can graduate early if you just take all the same courses in 3 years as you do in 4. We allow that. And a lot of states don't. I was like, sweet. Okay, I guess I have no friends. I might as well do some homework. Which in San Jose, I was the solid C student, just total social queen. So when I came here, I was like, all right. So I just mowed through high school. I took all my classes. I did summer school. I took 1 credit by exam where I just tested out of a class. I did 1 correspondence course before they did online school. Graduated at 16 from high school. And I was like, bye, Dad, I'm going to San Jose. And he's like, no, you're going to UNR. I'm like, what? I graduated early to leave. And he's, no one let you do it. Your brother's smart. So he's right. I was a minor. Like, where am I going at 16, big talk? Without your parents' support, even with it, it's hard.
Yeah.
So I got to go to UNR, which was actually a fine experience. So I graduated a normal 4 years at UNR and worked like almost full time. I worked 30 hours a week as a paralegal. And so then my boss, when I was a paralegal, said, I went to this 2-year program at Southwestern University in LA. You should check it out. You hate school. I hate school. I know it's not when you have a Juris Doctorate. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. I hate learning about stuff I don't like. I hate professors and all their down talking bullshit. I just want to laugh at them. Like, does this work? Please don't dress me down. That's another story that's kind of funny. So he took me to a school in LA. I went and toured it and I was like, okay, cool. I can get this done in 2 years. There's 1 2-year program in the country as best I know still. And that's at Southwestern. It's a school within the school. It's called SCALE. It's an acronym for your fuck you, we hate you, but I don't know. It's going to be real fast. And then there's other law schools that will let you do it in 2 years, kind of like I did high school, but this is the only actual 2-year program. They torture you in it. I'm not sure. They don't disclose that. You have to do a personal interview to make sure you can survive. I swear to God, it's like the equivalent of boot camp, but for 21 months straight. So they design it to fuck your life. It starts right after 4th of July. So wherever 4th of July falls, it starts the next day. So they're like, oh, have fun drinking, you start law school. And you're like, that should have been a clue. And then you go 21 months straight, and then you have a 3-month internship, and then you graduate. And by straight, I mean there's 1 2-week break the whole time, and it's in between years. And they gave us like a 60-page paper due after the break. And well, is that a break? That's just a joke. All of the classes would end on a random weekday. Normal semesters end on Friday, and you start with a Christmas break. We had, I think they were, I don't know what they were called. They were 6-week mini sessions. Every 6 weeks we got new classes, and they would end on like a Wednesday, and then you'd have a new class Thursday, and you'd have homework Wednesday night. And you're like, I just took finals and have homework. And they would make sure all the homework was due on a day that you didn't have the class, just because they told us when you become an attorney, this is your real life. Like, you have to juggle all this. You're going to have to figure out what to prioritize. I'm like, yeah, I would get sued because I just committed malpractice 9 times in this class. It was like insane. So you'd have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. All your Tuesday, Thursday homework's due on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you're like, what? It was crazy. And I was 20, so I had stamina much better than some of my co-students, because the average age of the kids that took this program were in their 30s. It attracted older people because they thought they could get through quicker. It was not a good idea. We had a 55-year-old man in there that used to be the chief of police in LA who decided this was a second career, and he failed out in 3 months.
Wow.
So we started with 45 students. I think we graduated like 22. Like, it has more than a 50% fail out rate.
Talk about a weeding out process.
And it had like the stressors. It was my first time experiencing stress at that level, where one of the girls went deaf, somebody else got MS, and somebody got meningitis of the brain. And not that law school gave her meningitis, but immune systems were just crushed, because it was about an 80-hour work week to do it just standard. And if you got a paper, you're going 100, and there's no break. And if you miss more than, I think it was like 4 or 5 days, they fail you, because there's no makeup summer. You can't take another class. And then the classes are so small, when you show up, they would, every day, the professor would be like, Marilyn, what did da case say? And if you didn't read it, because most of people in college and law school read half-ass, they'd come home and be like, oh, you came here unprepared, go home. There's your 1 absence. I'm like, because I got 10 more, and I bet you better believe I didn't do that again. But we read like 100+ pages a night of the most boring drivel. Let us just point out, this is not like a sex novel. This is, you have to stay awake, you have to stay awake, you have to stay awake. Pretend that you're actually retaining this. So it was horrible, honestly.
Intense.
It was horrible. But some of the cool parts were the class size was so small, we got to do a lot of stuff that big law schools can't. A typical law school class size is well over 100 people, and ours was 45 and then 22. So we got full mock trials at the Supreme Court building. We got to write big, huge papers, and the professors had time to grade them because our class size was small. The teachers rotated in our class. We stayed in our same chair the whole 2 years and got to know each other. So it was like we were really close with our co-students because we went through Kuwait together, basically. I mean, seriously.
SEAL training, Navy SEAL training.
Like, it's like trench buddies, like in the war, which I, no disrespect to veterans, because that's real compared to this. So I apologize. So anyway, it was an experience, but I lived. I remember when I graduated, I cried because I'm like, I have no life goals. What do I do now? I've been trying to get through school for so long, so quickly with such a goal that I immediately felt like I got out of prison and was lost. I'm like, I'm institutionalized. How do I function if no one's grading me and telling me I'm stupid? Because one of my professors he'd write Miyagi. It was an acronym for my eyes are glazing over, Miyago, on your paper. And then he'd say, drop out of law school and become a school crossing guard. You might be special ed. And you're like,
wow.
And then he gave me a 16 out of 400. And I'm all, I got a 16. So I went to talk to him and he's, did you look at the curve? I'm all, no, I was busy killing myself. No. And he's, oh, you should look because you have the top grade. I'm like, dude, how big is your ego? Which is what
no shit.
What is wrong with you? Seriously? And no, I only say that to the promising students. I'm like, by the way, I can see your balls. When you put your foot up on the chair in class, your balls show. Which I said, because we had anonymous grading. It was all numbers. They never used our names. So I felt pretty safe. I also typed all my exams, so there was no hand recognition. So I went a little crazy. But turns out I had the A at 16 out of 400. I was like,
wow,
you are an asshole. But it was a nice insight into the future of my career because that's how judges talk to us all day. Isn't it lovely? Especially the short ones. Wish it wasn't true.
And you still don't put up with it.
No, and I'm more brazen. The older I get, the worse I get. I have it down to a science where I kind of try to politely say, but I did it as a kid. Like I was in court in LA and there was this judge named Judge Smiley in Ventura who had the worst teeth ever. So maybe that's why he was pissed because his name was Judge Smiley. But he reprimanded everyone in the courtroom and just humiliated every person that spoke, me included, over and over in front of a whole crowd of colleagues, because that's how the courts in LA work. They're stacked. So the whole room is full of people. And I finally said, Your Honor, have I been disrespectful to you? He's all, no. And I said, have I done something to offend you? And he said, no. I said, then I'd appreciate the same courtesy.
Wow.
And he grabbed me by my arm, ripped me into the back, into the hallway, and slammed the door. I was like, oh my God, he's going to beat my ass. And I'm shaking, of course, because it took all the courage on planet Earth for me to say that. I was like 25. And he says, I'm sorry. You're right. I was very rude to you and you didn't deserve it. And I'm sorry. And I said, do you want to maybe do that in front of everyone that you humiliated me in front of? Or do we do secret apologies? And then he smiled and showed me his effered up teeth. And I was like, oh yeah, that's why you're mad. And then he said, don't push it in a super stern voice.
All right, done.
But that taught me I don't have to take crap. I don't. And I can do it respectfully. Like I'm not going to yell and name call or meet them at their level. So I've tried to do that. Since in the practice of law, we get attacked. I got 7 hate mails this morning from attorneys. And I'm like, oh God, they're psycho. And I'm like, don't meet them at their level. Don't meet them at their level.
As much as you want to.
Yeah. And I have a bad temper. I just told someone in court last week that she's the most unreasonable human on planet Earth in front of the judge. And I was like, that was real ineloquent. So I sent her an apology and I was like, you probably aren't the most unreasonable human on planet Earth. That was very childish. I'm sorry I said that. I lost my temper. Let's just move forward as colleagues. We have a good professional relationship. She's a total nightmare, but I just could have said it better. I was embarrassed that I had no better moves. I was like, wow, you really lost your composure. I'm pretty witty. That was real. I sound like I'm 5. But
it's a one-time thing.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to do that. And just yesterday, an attorney sent me 7 emails in a row about the same thing. And I just wrote, stop emailing me. This is not urgent. The matter you're talking about is 5 weeks away. I have other deadlines. I will respond to you when I can. And then he screamed at me in an email and told me I'm a bully. My client's a bully, that there's no way I'm busier than him. Oh my God. And then I just said, you lack impulse control. You are now in a timeout. And that was it. So he's in a timeout.
Sit in the corner.
I was like, I'll respond to him on Friday, maybe Monday. And now he's sending me email after email. And I'm like, I just won't answer him. It's
there you go.
You don't get to make your lack of impulse control my reaction. I really do put your deadlines and you're psychotic. Everyone at work gets worked up by him. I'm like, nope, just put him in a timeout.
There you go.
And put him in it. I'm not really a passive aggressive person. I tend to just be aggressive. But this feels real comfortable for me. He's losing his ever-loving mind. I'm like, go ahead.
I love it.
It's a weird world. It is weird. So anyway.
Yeah, well, people are strange.
Yeah.
Now, men's rights in family law can be sensitive and a complex issue. So what inspired your focus and practice on representing men, and how do you advocate for rights within the legal system?
So as I indicated, it was, sort of accidental and motivated out of not the right reasons when I started. But as soon as I started specializing, since I opened my firm, which was 2021, so it's now 23 years later. And immediately I started to see trends that I felt like other colleagues did not see, because family law is so fact specific and the facts are so important for the rulings that it's hard to differentiate if it's a gender response by the court or if it's a factual response. And the judges honestly still believed that it wasn't a gender response. It was, well, in this case, he blah, blah, blah. And they would differentiate and try to justify their decisions. But I was able to pretty quickly, and I created an Excel spreadsheet like a nerd to try to figure out, oh, this judge doesn't just, it's not men, it's male Hispanic police officers that he discriminates against.
Wow.
And it was like, because of the volume that I was handling and the gender specific, I was able to pinpoint those biases, and we can do a peremptory challenge. So for now, $400, we can get rid of one judge one time. So I used that quite strategically at the time, depending on my client, and it was great. It was a good outcome. The laws were very disfavorable to men when I started my practice. And as a paralegal, I'd already seen that. So I was aware, because I did family law, but we'd see men. What they got in visitation when I started in 2021 and in college, 1992 to 1996, is what I call meth visitation now. And I literally say that in court. I'm like, Your Honor, they're offering a meth visitation, which is every other weekend. That was the best my guys ever got. And now that's what people on meth get. I mean, they'll supervise them and they'll drug test them, but that's the lowest we get is every
Yeah.
And that was our greatest day in court then. So that's how different it is through my practice. And it's been my greatest career pleasure to see the laws evolving. And I wish I could say I had something to do with that. I didn't. I've never found the time in my life to lobby and change the laws the way I want to. I've consulted and I've had intention. And last year I was going to do a paternity criminalization proposed bill, which I still intend to do, but the timing wasn't right politically. So I hope to do that in the next legislative session. So the laws are now a lot more gender equal, perhaps too much so, not gender equal, but we have a preference for joint physical custody in Nevada. California does as well. Right. If somebody asks for joint, the court has to give it unless they can state a reason why this particular child or children, it's not in their best interest. It's great, but not every kid can truly do back and forth. And what we fail to do as a government entity is we fail to track data. I run a charity, we track all our data. The courts need to do the same. It's the least responsibility that we should be, taking seriously. And with technology, there's no reason we can't. Now that we're doing joint physical custody more than we aren't, why are we not tracking graduation criteria, teen suicide, instances of violence with kids? And then, of course, through the court system, are there less motions for contempt? Are people following court orders more when their power is no longer shifted? Now that they have equal power, is there less fighting? Is there less acrimony? Is child support being paid more often? All the questions, we should be tracking that to see if this trend made a difference in those trends. How healthy are our children psychologically? They should be improving. Now, COVID didn't help because COVID threw a wrench in. And so it'd be hard to say, is joint helping? But I can tell you joint was a real popular thing during COVID. All the stay-at-home moms were like, holy mother of God, please take my kids half the time. I don't want to do Zoom learning with my first grader alone and try to work from home. So it was actually really good. And if you are aware, much smarter people than me have done books called A Boy's Life, for example. Warren, I'll think of his last name in a second. He wrote that book and it's really enlightening and scary. And he indicates that boys are failing in society. And one of the places that they are seeing a huge difference in children is education. And it's perhaps because women are more often teachers than men. We don't know. But I was hoping the shift with COVID and men being home with their children might have an impact on that. And that boys might start doing better in school to have their dads present in the home, just to get that male influence. I don't know if that's true. No one's tracking data. Kids are offing themselves left and right. I say that callously when it's not, and so I don't know how to figure that out. But those were just some thoughts that I had.
Of course, society sometimes holds stereotypes about fathers when it comes to fathers. How do you challenge and debunk those stereotypes in court to provide or ensure fair treatment for your male clients?
I think our judges are actually a lot more evolved. And interestingly enough, we only have female judges in the family court in Nevada now. Really? I don't know about Vegas. I think Vegas is far more female than male, but I can tell you Reno has only females.
Wow.
And it's the best bench we've ever had for men. So as weird as that seems, they are very evolved and very aware. And I don't see much gender bias. I'm starting to wonder about one judge. I happen to have a female in front of her because I take females by referral, so friends. So this woman is my friend and we're doing well. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's because she's female. She should do well. She's the better person in the divorce as far as legal positions. But still, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to wonder about her. But generally speaking, they've been really fair in that way. Over the years, I've had to do that though, and I have to be smart about my questions. You know, I did a TEDx talk. In my TEDx talk, I kind of touch upon what the information that men are good at answering and what they are not good at answering versus women. And women have holes too, but people don't know this because they represent both and they can't see the pattern. So I can exploit it with a female, put her on the stand and make her look like the worst mom ever by asking her the dad questions. And I get my dads ready for the mom questions. I make sure we know, do you know what grade your kid's in? Do you know how old they are? Do you know who their doctors are? I get them ready. I help them learn that information so they don't have those holes.
Yeah.
You know? And then I, of course, ask them questions that showcase their strengths. What is their kid afraid of in the dark? Who's their best friend? What's their favorite food? If they could be a superhero, what would their powers be? Like, where's their tickle spot? Very important, cool, connected. You know, you asked me that. I'm like, I don't know. He didn't do his homework. It's true. I'm a mom. Like, I'd love to tickle him, but I'm real pissed because his math assignment's missing. You know, it sucks. We're like the Gestapos, and yet we are ineffective at implementing discipline.
Yeah.
We need to do it. It's really cool because men and women work so well together. Our natural strengths and inclinations. Dr. Warren, and I'm like, I know it starts with an F, and I'm just like, I'm like perimenopausal or something. I've become stupid. But he taught me that women help children achieve and identify dreams. Fathers help them achieve them. That fathers are the reason that they are able to handle delayed gratification, and moms are the ones that help them dream. And that combination makes kids successful. But if you have the dreamer with no discipline and no delayed gratification tolerance, he's going nowhere.
Yeah.
If you handle delayed gratification, but you don't know what your gratification is because you have no dream that you're achieving, you just become some factory workaholic. Yeah. So the combination is what makes for successful children. And statistics have said that the every other weekend meth visitation is not enough time for dads to have an impact on those statistics. They need to be in their kids' lives daily or half the time in order to have that true, fair, long-term impact. And so we've reacted as a society here in the West Coast, and our laws have evolved, and I'm really proud of us. It took a little while to see that equality in court, even though the law changed. So they had to kind of warm up to the idea, and the bench kind of flipped at the same time. We got this new blood on the bench that were practitioners like me. So it was cool to see them accept and okay, we got it. But like I said, maybe we've gone too far. Every single time I have a crackhead, I'm like, oh, we got to get back to join as soon as possible. No, she's a crackhead.
Yeah, like, not a good idea.
We need to move forward and get this back on track for normalized visitation. I'm like, she's a heroin addict who literally hit some lady and put her in a wheelchair and doesn't even pay restitution. No, she never, ever needs normalized visitation. She never stays sober. She's a mess. Stop trying so hard to give her joint. She's not a joint. So we've gone too far. We need to rein it in a little. But yeah, I love the gender equality that we've seen.
Yeah, the weekend visits, I mean, the kid will get there on a Friday and just start to get acclimated by the next day. And then the following day, they got to leave. So that's not any bonding time. Well,
and they act like he's Disneyland dad. Well, what do you think's happening on a weekend?
Yeah.
Most of the time, the homework's predominantly done during weekdays. Occasionally, you have one long project, but they don't get to get their hands dirty. And then mom doesn't get to have fun time. I don't want weekdays only. I hate weekdays. They're just grueling. And then weekends, I'm like, I can finally enjoy you and maybe not harp on you. But you took all my... So it's hard on both. Joint seems to make the most sense. But then we have all these kids with 82 sensory disorders and ADHD. And half of them are just like our siblings were. And we called those gifted and talented. But now they're special. Now we have to act like they're handicapped. I'm like, oh my God, my brother is one of those. And he was like a genius. I'm like, oh, he's handicapped? Okay. But anyway.
Now it all makes sense.
Some of those, seriously, some of those kids can't do well with a joint physical schedule. It's too much change. They have a hard time overcoming that. So I think we might be harming those children that need more stability, more predictability, a routine that is exact. So we have to work hard to protect those kids that have those sensitivities. And we have quite a bit of them because those kids cause divorce. I sound like such a jerk. Not real. whatever we're calling normal kids cause divorce. They're assholes.
Normal.
They're sociopaths. They're exhausting. But you take a kid and give them an extra layer of difficulty in parenting, of course it causes divorce. Jesus. The chances of two parents reacting the same to a kid that takes extra care are like slim to nil.
Yeah.
You'll have one that enables them and acts like they can't do anything on their own. The other one that pretends they're normal and pushes them to be playing football when they have Asperger's syndrome. So we have a higher instance of children with a particular need. And sometimes it's type 1 diabetes. Sometimes it's physical handicaps. There's a lot of them. That we have more of those children in a divorce pool than you do in a normal pool because of the stressors.
Right.
So we should be reacting more sensitively to them. And we are trying, but none of us have the right education. Bring the people, the professionals in that have it. And that
take care of that. Yep.
So rich people can afford this and poor people cannot. So as usual.
Yeah, of course.
Another talk show.
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
Now, custody battles are particularly challenging. I'm sure you can attest to. Now, what unique challenges do men face in these situations, and how do you address them within legal framework?
Like I said, one thing that has not happened is I still see men come in defeated. I still see men come in saying, I know she's going to get custody. And I still see men being gender biased and being pro-mom, even in their own home. And so they're like, well, I don't want to take my kids away from their mom. I'm like, their mom does a lot of heroin. You probably shouldn't.
It's probably a better idea.
It's that bad. Or the mom is super mentally ill and has 6 diagnoses. And sometimes they err on the side of avoiding emotional conflict. I feel like men are not wired for emotional conflict, and we love it. Bring it. We cause it. We eat it up. It makes us grow like gremlins. So they avoid it to the detriment of their kids. They're like, oh, if I don't demand extra time, she won't mess with me, and then she won't talk crap about me to the kids, and the kids will have a calmer time. That's great, and maybe in theory it works sometimes, but your kids just missed out on half of their lives with you. And I always say they need a break from the asylum. You need to take them so that they have every other week out of the asylum. And so we do a lot of encouraging here. So those are the trickier part, is the actual relationship between us and our male clients, and trying to educate them about why their importance matters, trying to make them strong enough to battle the emotional war, because they run out of stamina real quick. And when a man comes in and says, we'll just wait her out, I'm like, you're going to be dead. Don't play that game with a woman. We love this crap. When they want to give up 3 months later, forget it. Give her whatever she wants because they've got a new chick or they're tired. And we have to keep them in the game for the long haul. So even though they teach kids delayed gratification, they're not great at it themselves in the divorce pain context. So those are some of the tricks. And then, of course, the suicide rate is atrocious. Men don't screw it up. I think women try, but we do it with pills. We're not violent, and we get saved all the time and our stomach's pumped. Men do it with a gun. You're not saving. So it's now year 23 in my practice, and I've lost 25 male clients to suicide.
Holy shit.
So more than one a year. And then I've lost 3 client kids to suicide in the last 3 months.
Oh,
16,
man.
17. 2 girls. I'm like, what? That I've not seen.
Guns.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's bad. So those are the things where we have to try to recognize our clients' vulnerability. And men are not socially taught to ask for help.
No.
It's not tolerated. It's not encouraged. And so we have to try to recognize vulnerabilities and reach out to them. We're pretty close to our clients. So I feel like they either hate us because sometimes they blame us for everything being imperfect. I'm like, or they love us and they'll confide in us. But I'm not trained in suicide prevention. Although I malpractice in it constantly, and I hope over the years I've saved a few. I certainly try. I'm not afraid of anything uncomfortable. I'm the one that calls. My client's wife died this week of alcoholism. I'm the one that calls. When my other client's son committed suicide, I called within 30 minutes of him finding out. That time on accident, I was trying to text, and I'm like, you can't text about that. And then I'm like deciding, and I accidentally call. I'm like, oh my God, who calls 30 minutes later? And his wife answered the phone because he's remarried, and she wanted to talk to me. So I'm glad I called because she had for an hour, but I could hear him screaming in the background to bring back his son. And then 2 little brothers screaming about where their brother is. And again, not my trauma, so I'm hardly the victim in this, but I wanted to drop dead and not be on that call. But I refuse to make myself the victim in those situations if I can offer any support or legal advice, because there's legalities that fall as a result of these. And if it's while people are still screaming, so be it. We call ourselves emotional triage doctors. That's what we do. It's like the ER for emotion. So I'm very comfortable in trauma, but it does take a toll. For sure.
For sure. Well, I mean, men aren't taught to be vulnerable. It's a sign of weakness asking for help.
Yes.
And we need to change the narrative on that all around. And that starts with the kids. That starts with them as little boys, teaching them that it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to have feelings. We're emotive beings, for fuck's sakes. Of course you're going to have feelings.
Men are more sensitive, if anything, I swear. I swear. That's one thing I've learned representing them. But we need to teach little girls that too. They're supposed to be emotional. Yep. Their feelings matter. Handle them with care. Don't flip them off when they ask you out. Can we just be a little softer? And men, you don't get to rape a girl because she says no. We all just have to soften up a little. Mm-hmm. But it's tricky representing men because I need them to testify vulnerably and be open and honest, and it's not their way. And I need them to be connected to their children in an emotional way, which I don't have to coach typically. I will say that is natural. I almost never have to get involved until we get a teenager that's pushing back. And men are like, oh, she doesn't want me, I'm out. I'm like, well, they hate us all. We have to push. And we also have to give them space too. I mean, that's the teenage dance from hell. I'm in it right now.
It's hard.
When you have young kids, you're always like, oh, I'm going to be a better parent. These parents must suck if their kids hate them. You know what they never tell you, which I love, is that we hate our kids too. I'm like, people complain all the time. Teenagers are so miserable. They hate us. I'm like, no, it makes it easier because I hate them. They are miserable nightmares. So every time my kid hates me, I'm like, no, right there, buddy. Fist bump. I hate you too. Your company's miserable for me too, bro.
Teenagers are fucking difficult.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm like, so it's not that hard for them to distance themselves because I'm like, when you're in your room, my day is better.
Okay, but so you have a son.
I have 3 boys and a girl.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have both. So I have to ask because I only have girls. And from what I've seen, it's fucking constant drama with these two. Always. The boys, I think back to when I was in school, and we as boys, if we got pissed off with a friend or whatever, it lasted a little while and then we're fucking best friends again. Yeah. Girls, it's like they hold on to that shit and then it creates more drama, more friends get involved. It's a fucking nightmare.
Especially, how old are your girls?
Now they're 22 and 24. So
you lived through it. But
yes.
When my daughter I remember my daughter in 5th grade, it started with a frenzy. And she'd come home and I'd say that I give her the same speech every time. Do you need help navigating this emotional situation? Or are you just repeating the drama from school? Because I already did 5th grade and I didn't like it. So I'm not going to redo 5th grade with you. If you need help navigating, I will help you. But if you're just reporting drama, shut up and go do something else. And it kind of trained her not to attach herself to other people's shit. She had to sit there and think when I did that, am I involved? Do I need help? And more than half the time, the answer was no, I don't need help. I just am telling you. And I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I get paid for this shit. I get paid a lot. And I'm not getting paid right now. So get out of here. But I don't want to abandon you if you need help. And then I got her a therapist because I was like, I don't even want to help you half the time. And I ended up knowing half the parents. Welcome to Reno. Half those kids are in the middle of one of the divorce cases. I'm like, yeah, no shit. She caught her dad cheating on her mom with this football coach. I bet she was acting like a jerk at school. I can't say that, so I just know it and don't say it. But God, it's rough. Yeah, but I have a straight kid who is a med student, my oldest son. Then my 16-year-old is gay and male, but that is its own interesting because he falls into some of the stereotypes of being more involved in drama than a normal straight boy. And so we have a mix. I thought it'd be my greatest gift to have a gay son. He could blow out my hair. We'll talk about politics. No, you know what he does? He steals my makeup and puts it through the washing machine. I'm like, oh my God, you're like the worst of both. You take my shit and then you put it through the washer because you're a boy and you don't think to take it out of the pants. So my $35 lipstick has now ruined half my wardrobe and yours because it's in the fucking washing machine. I was like, well, I didn't see this coming. Or he wears my clothes because he's emaciatedly thin, even though he's 6'2". Yeah. He'll take my female blazers and put them on trying to be androgyny boy. But I'm like, that's a $650 blazer you just ripped through because you threw it on your floor. I'm like, oh. So it's actually hilarious. But that gives me a different perspective, which I love having. It's a cool experience. And I worry about him like every mom, like you worry about a kid, but it brings different things to light. And then I have a boy who just turned 7. I almost said 6. He literally turned 7 last weekend. So, and he's probably his dad, a future jock who will grunt and drink beers. And then my daughter, who is a sweet, loving, warm, amazing human and was a pain in the ass growing up. Because, man, you're lucky you don't have a boy. Because let me tell you, when those little same genders come in and challenge your, authority, you're like, oh, no, baby, I'm the queen bee of this house. Oh, my body's changing. Like she's on her period and that's her excuse for being asshole. And I was like, my body changed a long time ago, honey.
I know. I've been down that road.
Don't period card on me. Like, we're probably synchronized. In fact, we just found out that I am synchronized with my period with my cows. I have a farm, and I don't think they go in heat as often as we do. We call it heat. But I was in the farm, and one of them was trying to mount my husband, and I was like, she's freaking on her period. But she's not trying to mount me because I'm on mine. I think she recognized.
I love this part of the conversation. How has being in the field of work you do with helping to advocate for men, how has that helped you in your job as a mother with boys specifically?
So both have helped both. I think the best thing that's ever happened to me as an attorney is having life experience. I've been divorced 3 times. I'm on my 4th husband. I've been through a litigation with my grandparents. They sued my parents to the Supreme Court and back. My entire teenage childhood was in a courtroom with my grandparents versus my parents. I went through a custody battle with my brother where I took his stepdaughter away from them and went through a court battle about that. My ex-husband moved away after we got divorced, so I had the move away situation with long distance. That father unfortunately committed suicide. So I now know what it feels like to raise a child with a father who committed suicide. So there's like almost no set of facts I haven't personally experienced, which makes me so much more aware of what it is like trying to navigate in the legal system, and also empathetic to what it feels like, which I love. I hate, but I love. I know what it feels like. Like, I'm not exchanging kids on Christmas Eve. It's tense. And you can tell me all day, Judge, that we should put the kids first. But if you put the kids first, you would not put them in a tension package for Christmas Eve. I can fake it and smile, but I'm uncomfortable because that guy might hit me. So sorry. Those sort of insights I have with personal experience. Similarly, I listen to my clients talk about, I feel distant from my child. I feel this, I feel that. And I ask my kids questions to get insight from their perspective. I remember being that age. Well, my parents have never been divorced. My mom's a saint. That's all that means. But they're still married. And I remember very much being 13 and wishing I had more power and that I had a voice. And so I try to give my kids that from my own experience. And when I hear things from my clients, I try to talk to my kids about that. And knowing boys are failing, and that I was likely to be a statistic because of my divorces and raising them in a house without. My daughter was 14 months old when her father and I got divorced. Right. So she doesn't remember us together. So I have been as close friends as possible with all of my exes, no matter what. And it was very hard with my son's father. He had concussion syndrome. He was a professional bull rider for 16 years and was deteriorating rapidly as a result of a severe CT. And that I wasn't dealing with someone well. And so it made it much harder, but I tried really hard to just, I gave him money. I flew him to Reno to see his child, our son, as much as possible. I let him drive my car. I put him up in a hotel. I give him cash for food because he wasn't functioning anymore. I paid for his health insurance for years to make sure he could still get treatments for his he'd broken 36 bones. So he had a lot of arthritis that he was dealing with. And so I tried to always take the high road and do whatever I could. And so that's because of my work. Best gift I can give my kids is to not talk shit about their parents. And I learned that from work. And so I'm very careful. That being said, I also learned things in work that aren't true. The court orders you never to discuss the case with your kids. The court orders you never to disparage the other parent. And they're serious. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That made sense when they were little. I was like, yeah, I get it. Now that I have teenagers, my daughter's father, love him to death, but he has quirks that make him not always available to her emotionally. And so she would come to me crying. Dad just ignored me. Dad just this. When I go over there, all he does is watch TV. Well, if I'm not talking shit, I have no credibility with my child. If I say to her, Daddy's tired, like my robot mother did when my dad's killing me, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be that. My connection to my child comes first. And if you want to put me in contempt and throw me in jail for trying to be a genuine human with my kid, do it. So I would say, I understand, honey, I was married to your dad. That's why we're not married. That's one of the things your dad does. He tunes out. He can't handle it. I know how that feels, and it feels horrible. And you're telling
her the truth, but you're not talking shit.
But it is negative. It's not a good quality. So then I would confess to him. I did do that as a courtesy. I'd call him the next day and be like, I talked mad shit about you last night. I feel bad. And he'd be like, what'd you say? And I'd tell him, and he'd go, yeah, that's fair. I'm like, I know it wasn't untrue, but I don't like to do it, but I'm not going to invalidate her emotion. Yeah. And I could have just been a therapist had I been better trained and just said, tell me how that feels. That must feel bad. And just repeat her emotions. She would feel as validated, honestly. I wasn't smart enough to know how to do that. So I would share back, and I'm not sorry. And she loves her dad. I love her dad. We are super good friends, but he's got some wounds, frankly, that make him a disconnected parent. He was a disconnected parent, even though he had her all the time. I gave him custodial days pursuant to his attention span. So
Right.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he'd pick her up at 7 p.m. or my nanny would drop her off and I'd have her back by 7 a.m. and she would sleep in the clothes she went over there in, and I would feed her before she got there because she cannot eat gluten like her mom. And he didn't understand that and thought KFC counts. I'm like, no, dude. So I just said, forget it. I'll just feed her. Her homework was done. So she was awake from 7 to 8:30 maybe. So they had an hour of wake time. Then he'd drive her home in the morning. And he felt like he had joint custody and she felt like she saw her dad all the time.
There you go.
And it worked out perfectly. But now as an adult, they're a lot closer. Like he's been able to connect to her as an adult. He never learned how to connect to her as a child. He never had a girl. He has a son that I raised with him, but is not my biological son. I don't know if it was the gender or I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is. I love seeing them close now. I love it. I think it's cool. He's a great dude. He has so many gifts to give her, and it's so cool. I'm sorry she missed 18 years of it, and she's sorry, and we all know it, and he knows it, and he says it now. I'm making up for it. She's only 19, so we're just kind of revving up.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, and the majority of our relationships with our parents, if they live a long time, is in adulthood.
Yeah,
even though the childhood seems more impactful, I don't know if that's really true. So it's cool. Anyway. I hope I answered that question.
That's great. I don't care that it goes off in different directions. It's all good. It's all conversations. So advocacy, of course, extends beyond the courtroom. In what ways do you engage in advocacy outside legal proceedings to affect systemic change or challenge societal norms that impact men in family law?
Well, like I said, my intention is to do some lobbying. I need someone who knows that system. And I have a girl here who used to be a lobbyist now, who's a lawyer in my office. So she's going to help me do that. That would be a significant impact. I do a lot of public speaking. I did a TEDx on the topic.
Which we'll talk about.
Yeah, it went viral. So I think that's good. I do some TV appearances when I can. Tosh.0 was one of them that certainly wasn't done in any seriousness, but the subject matter is still relevant. And we certainly covered it from a comedic standpoint. And I think still maybe even better. I think it resonates without as much offense and people don't shut out as quickly.
Aside from the fucking hate mail.
Yeah, the hate mail. But that's how I know I'm relevant. I'm like, my people, my chicks are mad. I did Dr. Phil recently, although it wasn't It wasn't what I hoped as far as the depth of content because ratings are what matters, sadly, but whatever.
Yeah.
I do a ton of podcasts. I do a lot of local speaking. I am the board president of a local charity that actually houses homeless girls, which I think is really important because these girls were raised without fathers. And so I can't just help dads. I have to also do the work to help the girls that didn't have the dads because I have the dad. So I turned out well considering the factors that we watch. I may not ever stop getting married, but you know, whatevs. So those are the ways I try to make a difference. I try to spread the information. And I have a good friend who's a screenwriter in Los Angeles. And a couple times we've worked on the possibility of doing a larger project. I highlight the topic spanning comedy all the way to docudrama. And then I did have 2 opportunities in Hollywood that didn't ultimately pan out that would have given the conversation a voice. I've been working on a musical called Gender Trader based on my practice, which I am so amused by. And my kids think my son, who's the king of being a dick, likes to make fun of me because I'm not musical, but I love musicals, but I have no musicality. And he's never going to do it. Oh, you and your stupid musical. I'm like, feel free to help me because you are musical and your sister can sing like a freaking angel. You're an asshole. And my intention would be to try to cast it with kids that grew up without fathers or boys to try to give a charitable kind of opportunity to the population that's vulnerable. I think it could be a really fun.
I think it's awesome. It's a great idea.
And I'm a Broadway dork and have been since I was a little kid. I go all the time. I'm obsessed with musicals. I basically am a living musical. Like I want to break out in song when I'm supposed to be serious. I'm like, you can't sing in court. I can't sing. So anyway, those are like some of the thoughts I had. I have a lot of, I keep starting a book. I don't know what the topic is, to be honest.
Yeah.
So that's part of why it starts. And then I have about 7 minutes of free time a month. So let's include that in it. But I do want to do more in that regard. And my big girl dream is to own a bed and breakfast or some sort of vintage Airstream park where I cultivate packages and retreats for connection. I want to do the back end of what I undo on the front end. So I want to have an impact on people's connection and teach people how to connect again and create an environment and packages where they can do it with kids or spouses or parents. I don't care. I'm not just trying to get people laid. Like I really want to help people connect because I always say to people, How much effort do you put into connecting in your relationship in a month? And usually the answer is 0. Weird that it didn't work out. If you did that at work, you'd be fired in 8 days. If you came to work and just sat at your desk, how long do you keep your job? But we do it in America.
Not even a week.
Yeah. Hopefully, unless you're for the government, and then they're like, you probably got promoted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Probably.
Oh, you're a supervisor. But, in our marriages, nobody teaches us to connect, and no one teaches us conflict resolution, most of all. Yeah. I grew up in sort of a hippie time. I grew up in Silicon Valley in California. In 1975 is when I was born. So we had all these touchy-feely classes that were experimental growing up that were so awesome that I now come to think we should all have, and let us win you, I think, because, or win you, I feel, because. They gave us a structured sentence in 5th grade. And I, of course, used it to say mean stuff and see if I could still comply, because I'm an asshole. So I'd be like, when you show up to class, I feel sad because I was hoping you were dead. Like, no, that's not what it's used for, Marilyn. I was like, no.
Wrong application, Marilyn.
And then they make me 3 warm fuzzies to make up for it, or 5, because it took 5 warm fuzzies to undo a cold prickly. And my warm fuzzies were like, I like how your whole body's covered in freckles.
So a jab, but a warm fuzzy.
But it qualifies, but it was a really cool class. And it showed me that we need to add things for education. And I went to a divorce think tank, and they're like, how do we get people to follow our court orders? I'm like, well, what did you do in the educational underlay to teach them how to resolve conflict? They don't know how. So they just ignore each other and go to jail. It's too late when they're in their 40s and you're putting them in jail for it. We have to go back. And they just looked at me like I'm an idiot.
Well, the education system is fucked.
Maybe we wouldn't have as many jails too, because all of those conflicts started as nothing predominantly, and they didn't know how to resolve it, so they shot each other. It fixed the criminal system too.
You think?
Just to some extent. I mean, we have sociopaths. I represent them. So I'm
sure, of course, but
not taught.
There's a lot of things that could be fixed that would help.
I still have to learn, and I try to teach my staff, like my game. Don't meet them at their level. Don't let someone make you a bad person. Remember who you are. Don't engage. You don't have to. It's a waste of energy. What if you give them a compliment when they insult you? See if you can bring out the professionalism. And a lot of people will respond positively. If you say, I can tell I upset you. I'm so sorry I upset you. It wasn't my intention. And then give back. Oftentimes they feel validated. And they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry I lashed out at you. I'm like, no, our job's hard. I get it. I've just demonstrated
like the judge.
Yeah.
Who dragged you out of the courtroom.
Lovely, but he was not about to demonstrate.
No, but it still drove the point home, and he apologized.
And I was respectful.
Yes,
I was respectful.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I wasn't embarrassed about my conduct. I didn't bring it down to the base. I didn't escalate conflict, because that's important for safety too. My dad's saying is escalate. So I was raised to escalate all conflict. And I have learned that it is not the right technique most of the time, although he has a point. Sometimes when you're dealing with someone that is just wired to bully, you got to bring it to a whole new level. Make it hurt. Typically, you want to do that without a record. If anyone's listening, we don't do that in text. We don't do that in email. We whisper in their ear some real nasty shit when we see them in person, okay? That's the other thing.
Email and all that. There's paper trail. You don't want to do that.
Do not make evidence, please. I did that with my ex-husband, because he would just text me hate mail, the one with CT. And I would text him, oh, I'm so sorry to hear you hate me and wish I was dead. Do you want to talk to the kids? And he'd be like, I'll effing call when I effing can. I'm like, that'd be cool. They'd love to talk to you. And then in person, I'd be like, call me that again, and I buy you no more plane tickets. Do you understand me? I'm like, don't even think about it. I look like a weird autistic mess on text, but I'm like, that's what I would tell my clients to do. I better demonstrate.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. What lights you up or inspires you the most about the work you do, Marilyn?
Parent relationships with kids, hearing the after stories. When my TEDx came out, there's a bunch of comments under it, of course, and I don't read them because half of them will be like, you need a facelift. I'm like, cool, I know. But there was a kid underneath it that said, you got custody of me for my dad, and I was suicidal and was going to kill myself, and you saved my life. And I'm like, oh my God, these kids have grown up now. I've been doing this long enough where these kids that I impacted have something to say about what I did and why it mattered. And I actually figured out who that kid was. His sister reached out to me and said, did you see my brother's comment? And I was like, wow. Oh my God, I could never have known. And so that's what lights me up, is knowing that I'm making a difference, is seeing dads cry when they get to see their kids, is knowing statistically these kids are better off because the parents are in their lives, and not hurting women in the process. That is not why I'm here, despite the stereotypes and the hate mail. I'm not trying to hurt moms, but I'll rip your face off if you drag your kid drunk and try to pull them out of my arms in a courtroom. I will scratch your eyes out, bitch. That is not my intention. And if they're good moms, and a lot of times they are, we're just trying to get equal time for good dads and good moms. And they shouldn't be fighting to the death, trying to keep kids away from their fathers. He cheated on me. I hate him. Okay, I'd hate him too. Fair. Although you seem like a cold fish. I think we know why he cheated, but not.
That's besides the point.
Besides the fact that you look like you used to be a man. I know that's trendy now, but it's not foreplay for me.
Do you get a lot of grief or flack from women in doing the work you do? Yeah.
Just literally last week, I was in my conference room and I have a whole wall of glass windows. Some woman walked by and flipped me off for a full 5-minute walk. And I've never seen her in my life. I was just like, she just wanted me to know that I should die. And I was in court, quote unquote, because I have court Zoom in that room. So I had all my clients and we were totally distracted by the flip off. And I had to say to the court, I'm sorry, Your Honor, there's a woman flipping me off for a full 5 minutes out my window. I apologize for losing my train of thought. She was like, do you know her? I'm like, no, I don't. She's just a fan.
Someone walking by. She's a super fan.
Yeah. I get that a lot. My poor kids do. It's less amusing then, although they're all pretty thick-skinned. My daughter just judged a debate tournament and walked in on one of the coaches talking crap about me in the room to other women.
Holy shit.
And she was super proud of herself because she's like, Mom, I didn't even cuss. And then told me the story where she did cuss, but we cuss a lot. So shit is a mild word for us. But she said, she went up to the lady after she finished her rant and said, I'd appreciate it if you didn't talk shit about my mom. And she said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I actually was talking about her dad, Ray. And she goes, yeah, that's my grandpa. And just stared at her. And she was like, oh. Yeah. And the funny thing is I figured out who it was because she's a coach and I remember which lawyer's a coach. And then I saw her at a family law conference and she kissed my ass and pretended because I was in the paper as a result of some other nightmare. And in the paper, I was quoted talking about how some of the fallout is that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he came up to me like a stupid two-faced asshole and was like, I read in the paper that someone was talking about you at a debate tournament. And I was like, I know. Whoever could it be? Like
horrible.
Seriously pretend it wasn't you. But I was like, I'm not sure I'm ready for her to know I know. One of these days I will want her to know I know it's her. But for now, I just let her be fake in front of everyone. And then, of course, told them all when she left. But so things like that can be difficult. But my kids are strong. When my 16-year-old was about 5, he watched 2 women talking crap about me in front of a Starbucks. And he videotaped them and blew them up on the video with a special effects little app. And he was like, Mom, these women were saying bad stuff about you. So I blew them up.
I love it.
So I was like, that's really cute and sad. And luckily, my kids all have different last names from each other because I'm a hoe. And they have different last names than me. And so it benefits them. Most people don't know I'm their mom until they see me at school a lot. And then they finally figure it out because sometimes they'll pull their kids out of extracurricular activities so they don't associate with my kids. For real.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. And class. And so I like to protect them as long as I can. I never put their last names on social media. I never talk about the schools they go to. I never wish them happy birthday because I just don't want them hurt. My daughter had a brick thrown through her window and she lives in a home I own and it's titled in my name, which you can search and find. And it happened right after I was in the paper for this BS lawsuit. And so I'm certain it's related to me, not her. She's lovely. Yeah. She's much lovelier than I am.
But that's fucking horrible that your kids have to deal with that because you're doing the work you do and you're doing good work. You're helping people. So
that's my intention. But I make a lot of enemies because, like I said, I rip kids out of drunk bitches' arms. It's not endearing.
No.
So, and I'm okay taking my own heat, but I hadn't always anticipated the fallout to my kids. And I had to switch my kid's school because I represented the husband of my daughter's teacher against her teacher. And her teacher didn't take it well, to say the least, publicly.
Yeah.
And so I ended up having to pull both my kids out of their public school and put them in a private school on a Tuesday randomly, right after my son's dad had died. So within a month, he loses his father and all his friends and his school. And that was horribly impactful for them.
I'm sure.
And I felt awful. And it was because of my job. And I didn't know it. The case was referred to me by the head judge of our court. Yeah. And when I figured it out, I called and said, I can't take this case. It's my daughter's teacher. And he said, do you want a judge mad at you for life or a teacher for a year? And hung up at me. I was like, well, I guess we'll eat that shit sandwich.
You just made my decision for me. Thank you.
I'll be a teacher. Thank you.
Yes.
And now my big joke is that I made like 20 grand off that case and spent like 49 on private school tuition. I was like, thanks, dude. That was a great gift. It was awesome.
Thanks for that. Way to go, Judge.
Yeah, but whatever.
Well, let's talk about your TEDx talk.
Sure.
That whole experience. So obviously getting a TEDx talk is a big deal for a lot of people. It's a dream. Was this something that was a bucket list item for you at all?
No, it's another funny story. I'm not your normal person. So if I do anything, there's always a weird story. So whenever you ask, prepare for some humor. So I went to a MBA class at the university locally. I was invited by a professor to teach branding. So I went, I taught branding. He showed my Tosh.0 episode. I cussed a bunch. I left. He apparently was so offended by my mouth that he took a poll of the students in the class that would never want to talk to me again because I'm so offensive. I'm like, you set the tone by showing my Tosh. What do you do? Whatever. And he was very disappointed because the majority or all the students said they loved me and didn't care if I cussed. Duh, they're college kids.
Yes, of course.
So he was pissed and slammed his fist on the table declaring I would never do a TEDx talk because I don't belong there. And turns out he ran the TEDx program for the university. And it got back to me because Reno's small and one of the students is like a Pilates instructor of mine and she's, guess what he did? And I was like, oh, really? So then I was like, okay, now I'm going to do a TEDx talk because I want him to feel stupid. So I emailed him and said, this got back to me. I understand you think I won't do a TEDx talk. Can we meet for coffee? So we did. He's a nice enough guy to do that. And he was like, yeah, your mouth's atrocious. I'm like, yeah, awesome. I think it has a point.
Thanks, tips.
Yeah, but I'm also a low white trash. So it's fair. And I said, I want to do a TEDx talk. I want to prove you wrong. I'm capable of not cussing. I do it in a court all day. I typically try to find a reason to quote cussing just because it's fun. But other than that, I do it all day. I'm very capable. It's just not my best day. And so he was like, go ahead and try. What do you want to do a TEDx talk on? And I said, father's rights. And he's two of the women that are on the committee that decides who gets through are lesbians. Good luck. Because he didn't make the decision about who got to speak. He just coached who got through. And I was like, what does that mean? Are you new? Do you think those lesbians had dads in their lives? I'm going to guess no, but maybe they had dads they love, but because they're lesbian, you think what? They hate men and don't want to know about them? But you need to modernize, buddy. But I was like, okay, I'll take my chances. By the way, I know both of them because welcome to Reno. I was like, whatever. So I wrote my pitch for it and I gave my pitch and I got through and then he had to coach me. And we had the best time. He's brilliant. He's so generous. He's so helpful. He made my speech what it was, to be honest. And the only thing he did that to my speech that I didn't love was it was so serious, but you only have 13 minutes and it's a super complex topic. But I like to be an asshole in case you haven't figured that out. And I'm like, I have all these cool jokes. And he pulled them all out because I was over time. And I was like, you took all my cool stories out. And it was this never ending battle. And I'll never forget being on the stage. And he said, why are you saying, maybe you shouldn't say that. Somebody, I think it was my egg shit story, dog shit in the Easter egg in the beginning of it. And he was like, you can't say shit. And I said, I'm not a pussy. I'm not gonna be a pussy. You can't say that. And I said, if you don't say pussy, you're a pussy. Like we had this never ended and he's amazing. And so the speech was done. I'm delivering it. And he says, day of, you have to memorize it so well. It's like a 6-month training process that they tell you someone should be able to cut off your arm and you don't lose track of your speech. And so they test you with the script at the end a week before, or they'll cancel your appearance. Like you won't be in the lineup. So the week before they have your script and they make you start and stop in all these random places and verbatim recite it with emotion, and your hand gestures have to be memorized, perfectly timed. I'm like, okay. So I did that, which I had not done since college. And then day of, I was like, it's taped live. There's 3,000 or 4,000 people in the audience. This is the day before the world shuts down, basically, because it was February 29th, Leap Day, 2020.
Holy shit.
There's 4,000 coughing COVID deaths in the hall. I have this horrible sickness. Now looking back was probably COVID. I had to take 4 IVs just to get my voice that day. And I had pneumonia. My uncle died of COVID right before this. So it was just like, and I was just in New York. Anyway, whatever. So I'm giving the speech and I was like, oh, it's taped live. So if I sneak some shit in, he can't stop me. So I snuck in, I'm kind of a whore. Like I just ad-libbed that into the speech when I'm talking, because you have to give your resume, basically tell people why you have credibility. I'm a mom. This is all, these are all the dads. I've been married, that. And so in there, I was like, I'm kind of a whore. And later he was like, so annoyed by me, but kind of amused. I was like, I'm sorry. Sometimes you just have to be yourself. But anyway, he's a great human. He's a good friend. He still doesn't like cussing, even though he drinks a lot of whiskey. I'm like, dude, I don't even drink. I don't understand these juxtapositions of people's quirks. So it was an amazing experience. It was really cool. It reinvigorated my passion for my career and in a really succinct way, why I do what I do. It's a great tool to show people like this is why dads matter. I think more than 8 million people have watched it. Now,
8.4. I was looking last night, 8.4 or 8.5 million, I believe, have now watched it. That's fucking 10. Incredible.
We're going to hit 10. I swear. And the coolest part is I thought it was because people were home with COVID. They're like, I guess we'll watch this bitch. I was not home. I was at work every day of COVID. I worked 80-hour weeks, all of COVID, because people can't stop fighting. They're in the hall.
Yeah.
We don't fight some more, and our courts were open. I'm like on Zoom, but now I realize that it resonates. People care.
Yeah.
And that matters. And this is saying something. There's 13 million kids growing up in the U.S. without fathers in their homes. And yet 8 million people care about what I'm saying. So
yeah, that's fucking
that means
huge.
something. Like we're getting it.
You're reaching people.
And we're figuring out that this matters and we need to do something different. Both genders. This is not men versus women at all.
Yeah. Well, we need to eradicate this men versus women bullshit. It's enough. We're all human beings. Let's just fucking come together as humans. Fuck the male versus female.
I feel like it used to be women were certainly subservient. We certainly were oppressed compared to men.
Yep.
And now that we're getting to equality, sometimes ahead, as the statistics are now saying, people feel like we're kicking men while they're down and we're not pulling them up. I'm like, okay, first of all, I don't feel like men pulled us up.
Right.
We clawed our way out of the gutter and got kicked in the face over and over while doing it. So what I think is a big issue is we have a work ethic that men have lost because you guys didn't fight for it. It was a given. And so you didn't fight for the position and now you can't match the fight. But it shouldn't be a fight.
No.
We should help both genders do well, give a hand down to people that don't, and help, because it only hurts society if either fails or if someone's above another. And so we need to take this gift that we clawed our way into and show compassion and make sure that we are making sure men do well too.
Yeah,
like, we
there is no fight.
We got treated. And maybe we can have sex with you guys a little bit because you did with us.
But when we lift each other up, it helps everybody. The whole collective wins. So fuck, enough of this shit already.
That's why I call it modern feminism, because everyone's, oh, you're not a feminist. I'm like, no, I'm a modern feminist. I don't have to only help my own gender to be a feminist. I'm not trying to hurt our gender either. I might look like it on my commercials. That's just really good writing. I write my own. What do you want me to say? They work.
I'm a professional.
Yeah, they're funny.
Has the talk opened up doors for you? Have you noticed a big shift in that where it's opened up doors for you as a result of the talk?
I wouldn't say anything too substantial career-wise because I'm licensed in Nevada and California. Right. I've had international requests to represent people and a ton of money thrown at me. That sounds cool, but I'm licensed in California and Nevada. And I don't even practice in California, honestly, and I don't really want to, not even for celebrities. It's too hard. I don't practice there enough, and I only like to do what I do really well. It's important that I do it really well. And I'm very happy in my career. So it hasn't in that sense. Hollywood always comes knocking around, you know, they like those numbers. They're like, ooh, people want to hear her. And so I had a reality show filmed here actually well before my TEDx. It had nothing to do with my TEDx. Yeah. And it was Bravo that paid for it. And they ended up not picking it up because they said women would hate me. I'm like, okay, A, I don't think that's true. B, I don't care. C, they would watch me because they hate me. That's what women do. We like to hate. We're real comfortable being pissed off and bitter. So we're like, ooh, that bitch, let's watch her talk about how fat she is. Ooh, that's called ratings. Do you guys not get it? That's why they watch The Housewives. Everyone hates them. But for my life, thank God, I can't imagine actually being on a reality TV show. But they did it. Magical Elves in Los Angeles was the producer. They did a beautiful job making it a comedy. It was not about drama, which is hilarious because all the reality TV is drama about nothing. Like the grocery store's drama. Now I do nothing but drama for a living and you make it a comedy? Genius. They missed the boat because I am nothing but dramatic. My life is just a shit ball of fire. Every day there's some crap. I have a farm. I'm a lawyer girl playing farm. I have no business doing it. I'm always getting mounted by a cow or rolled by a goat. Like my goat got a penis infection I'm picking apart and getting bit by a goat. There's always some funny stuff in the farm. I have medical drama that's, thank God, not life-threatening, but stupid. So I had a pee bag for 2 months that I had to wear in court and I kept kicking the lid off. I'm like, this is good TV. And I'd have to raise my hand and be like, Your Honor, it's not like a cup. It never stops. So I need to go under the table and find the lid or we're going to have a flood of pee. And they're just like, what in the hell? You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't.
Would it be this good? I got sued and I was on the front page of the paper with my dad. I'm like, there's just no end to the stuff that this TV show could have exploited. Now I have a gay son who got a modeling contract in Paris because he's that hot. He looks like his dad. My ex-cowboy husband was hot. And my kid's gorgeous. And we get discovered in a bakery in Paris. Because why were you in the bakery? Because I had fake tits and they poisoned me and they were making me sick. And so I had to sit all the time. Joints swelled up. And so we're in a bakery because of my fake tit poison. And then he gets a contract and I took them out and I'm much healthier now. Thank God.
Thank goodness.
I changed my pronouns. Like I still look like a girl. I was kind of scared. So. But
you fucking kill me.
There's really good stuff.
There is tons. So, look at already. I look at on the podcast. You got me in stitches the whole way through.
You guys screwed up at Bravo, but lucky. So here we are.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
Humor, to be serious, humor. My clients are put at ease. The judges are put at ease just because I try to use humor when I shouldn't, because this is a super serious topic and we all benefit from trying to take ourselves a little less seriously. Preparation, I'm very prepared. I try really hard to do the work. And so I've done the work. Being authentic, owning my shit. I'm going to own with you. I didn't do it because I thought men mattered. I did it because men have money and I like boys. Yeah. And then found out that it was really important and then stuck with it for all the right reasons. Having integrity really matters. And my cases have integrity. I don't take things to trial that I won't win because we don't belong in trial. And so I have a trial right now I'm in the middle of, and I've learned through the trial and the litigation, the other side's sole goal is to manipulate. They don't have the facts on their side, so they manipulate the whole time. And so all I spend my time doing is undoing their manipulation, which I'm killing, to be honest. I'm pretty good
I love it.
But it's still annoying to me. I'm like, how dare you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in attorney's fees to try to use smoke and mirrors and make this person in this case appear what it is not? Yeah. How dare you? They hopefully will get sanctioned hundreds of thousands of dollars in attorney's fees. And it's possible.
For wasting time.
For wasting time, the entire estate, people's lives. It's sick. But it's my honor to be good enough to undo it. And that's cool. I was like, my dad calls it high on success. I was like off the charts that week. I caught him. It was like the pinnacle of my career skills coming to a head. So having kind of a younger lawyer on the other side with the boss, but I was able to destroy her legally in a lot of ways. And I have my young associate with me and I was like, you're welcome. You know why I'm able to do that? Because I was her. Because some older lawyer handed me my ass over and you won't have to do it. You watch me do it with her and you'll learn without the humiliation. You're welcome.
There you go.
I was like, allow me to help you learn the easy way.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's cool. I mean, it's a really cool thing to do. And so that's why I'm successful. I'm not afraid to do the niche. I'm not afraid to eat the hate mail and the bricks through my window because I've had my whole building spray painted with dicks and bricks thrown through my window, my tires slashed, and I've had spit in my face and international now. Plenty of fallout. People following me, someone photographing me through my windows. Cool, thanks for stopping by. Now you know I'm tough. I am tough, but I don't have direct competition in the sense of the gender specific niche, but I do, of course, have plenty of competition in the colleagues and they're great and I'm glad to have them. But, you know, people always say, be careful, someone will compete with you. I'm like, oh my God, come share the hate. Come share the hate, big toughie.
There is no competition anyway. Fuck.
We'll see if you live through the first year. Yeah. Like, good luck. And you have to be female to do it. There was a guy in, oh my God, Georgia. And he copied my commercials verbatim, a male.
Seriously?
And paid an actress to play me and recorded him in Louisiana. Someone ratted him out to me and emailed me. And I filed a bar complaint against him because, well, that's copyright. You're a lawyer. What are you doing? Plus, I don't know a Southern accent. It was some like little spinner with a Southern accent. I was like, no, she did. Anyway, I was like, it also doesn't work, stupid. You're like males representing males. Wow, male-dominated society. You just look like dicks, a bag of dicks. You have to be female. It doesn't work. You hired a female actress, but you're a male firm, so knock it off.
Buy a fucking clue.
Yeah, it was dumb. But he did take the commercials down. But no, the bar did nothing to him there and said he didn't know it was the videographer who, of course, threw him under the bus and said, bullshit.
Oh, fuck.
Whatever. Give me my commercials back. I've copyrighted them all. I write them. I wrote another one that I need to air one of these days, but I got to film it. I have to be skinny. All my hair fell out from all my surgeries, so I look like a shit show. So I was like, I got to grow the hair, and then I can film it.
Speaking of success, how do you define that word? What does success mean to you?
For me, it's is the world a better place because you're in it? And that's every hour for me. That is not an annual check-in. That is every hour of every day. And I ask my kids every day, what did you do today to make the world a better place? Because if you have no answer, then stay the fucking bed. Make some carbon monoxide. You better make the world a better place because you're in it. That's what success is for me. I mean, I can also pay my mortgage. I have a nice house. That's cool. My kids have food on the table. That's great. There's other measurements of success, but I want to know that something improved in the world because I was here. And not every day do I feel like that. Some days I'm like, I literally just ran a mile in quicksand and ate a bunch of fucking shit. But that's why the egg shit story is important. That's why I open my TEDx with it. Sometimes you work real hard and you get dog shit. Get up and do it again. Get up and do it again. And
absolutely.
It's easy for me to be motivated to help others. I'm not self-motivated. I don't want to help myself. That isn't how I'm wired. But everybody has to figure out how they're wired. If likes on Facebook is what motivates you, well, I hope you still do good work and put it on Facebook. I don't care what motivates you. I might judge you and think you're an asshole. I will judge you. Actually, not my will. It's my favorite hobby, but my best quality.
What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before you learned it? What was your life like after you learned it?
It's fucking hard. When I was a little kid and I was like, I'm going to be a divorce lawyer. I had no idea I sold my soul. This is a soul-sucking, crushing career that I've chosen. I mean, literally, I just talked to my client yesterday when his spouse died of alcoholism and I hear his babies in the background screaming. That is soul crushing and it never ends. It won't let up. And yet I have highs as high. So now I'm acclimated like some drug addict where I don't know how to get adrenaline if somebody's not like saving a baby off a burning building. I've wired myself to need this high level of emotion. So you don't know that when you're a kid. You just sacrifice your body for your career. And thank God people do. Firefighters, doctors, ER techs. There's a bunch of jobs that do this level of soul sucking. And they also shot in the line of duty. Nobody hopefully shoots me. I'm sure they think about it constantly. So, that is something I did not anticipate. Like I just didn't expect it. And I'm not sure I would change anything, but this does have a limit. I will not be at my desk at 75 like some of these old dudes. They lost their edge and they need to go the fuck home.
Yeah.
They're not doing their clients a service anymore. Just leave at the top. I will be leaving at the top. Yeah. And when I leave, I will leave to do other good work. Like I said, I intend to teach connection and do healing stuff and not like hippy dippy shit because I'm not. But I'll bring some hippy dippy folk over to help. I have a lot more to do in the world. It's just probably not going to be directly on the ground in the front lines anymore.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can do some legislative work, a lot more speaking engagements. I love public speaking. I think it's fun. I'm really comfortable. So I think this message is important. So maybe a TV show will happen. I had a scripted series at Paramount as well that ended up disappearing when the guy left to do horror films. I'm like, this is a horror film? What are you doing? So one of these days, Hollywood will work out. I don't need my face on the screen. It's not that great. Aaron Brockovich, I'll pick someone. They asked me actually at Paramount who should play me. And I was like, oh my God, shit, this is a drinking game. I don't drink, so I've never done this game. Shit, I was like panicking, and they said, maybe Cameron Diaz. I'm like, oh my God, I'm flattered. She's so gorgeous, but she's not edgy enough. I have a man who's going to cut your face off. You can't use soft, cute, little giggly little Cameron. No, you need someone like, I don't know. I was like, I tried to think of it. The freaking Hunger Games chick or something, or Charlize Theron who played Monster. Like,
there you go.
There. So anyway, hopefully I get asked again and we really get to do it this time because I really like the entertainment world. It's lighter.
Yeah, for sure. Well, absolutely.
Yet more impactful in the numbers that it reaches. So I'm a great writer. I would love to use my writing talents and my life experience to work in some sort of scripted sort of world. So I hope that lands for this message and just because I got more stuff to do.
I'm sure it will. I have no doubt.
I lost my fake boobs, so that hurts me in Hollywood, but that's okay.
But if you're writing, it doesn't matter. It's okay.
Yeah,
you're good.
Hell, be a big old factor.
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
I think that people need to recognize what power they have. Although my dad recently taught me a lesson that the world is full of people that just aren't resilient. And those are the ones that take their lives. I mean, he lost a spouse to suicide. I lost a spouse to suicide. So we know very well that not everyone is as resilient. So imposing my resilience and my power onto others and projecting it, I've learned to try to stop doing because I was being judgmental and forcing people into places they weren't able to handle, including clients, by thinking I'm empowering them by basically challenging them to live to my level of strength.
Yeah.
And that's not appropriate. And it hurt them. I may be responsible for a suicide or 10. My ex-husband left a note certainly blaming me, but really, empowerment is what your power level is. And you want to step above it. Like I truly believe in pushing ourselves. Wherever your power line is, step above, find your strength. But where that line is, I can't dictate for you. And that's what I was doing incorrectly. Right. I was, like I said, projecting my level and that's not fair. And so you want to grow, you want to be empowered, you want to know what your strengths are and you want to utilize them, but you also want to protect yourself. Yeah. Let's take the Olympic gymnast who said, no, it's too much. Yeah. Good for her. Because I never say too much. I'm like, what do you mean you can't come to court with COVID? I leave the hospital and go to court. I do. I had 6 surgeries, 2022. I left the hospital and went straight to court every single time. I would try to get out.
That was with the pee bag?
Yeah, the pee bag was one of them. 2 surgeries for the pee bag. Geppetto. I named the pee bag Geppetto. Geppetto made me a real girl. So Geppettes mean, so I would leave like the hospital Monday morning and go to court. I'm like, why are you? But my dad would do it too, damn it. But then I expect other people to do it. I'm like, oh my God. And to what?
Not everyone is you.
And why? Although I want a few really big trials. with Japettes. So, whatever.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's what empowerment is to me. It's complicated and it evolves. Yeah. There's been periods of my life where I was not powerful at all. When I was married to CT, I was very unempowered. He had a substantial impact on my strength. And I had a hard time getting out of that marriage when I should have. I had a hard time surviving emotionally after I left. And I found myself in a really bad place. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to being strong. And I don't allow myself to be in a bad place or recognize it or permit it. So I just make myself weaker by pushing myself harder when I'm already broken and not recognizing it. It's awesome. It's awesome. So let's not do that.
Let's not. Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions will be 2, 3, 4-word answer type thing.
Okay.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
Unpredictable.
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Making a difference.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
To make a difference.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
Oh, God. Thank God it's not related to that because I couldn't come up with one. Brave. I'm very brave.
If you were writing your autobiography, what would the title be?
Sometimes I say stupid shit.
That concludes our rapid fire
Or
section.
sometimes I do stupid shit.
If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Oh, God. I don't know. You think I would know that since I ask questions all the time and I don't think about what I'd ask myself. I think you did a really good job, like covering the, before, during, and after, which is important. And what have you learned? What do you hate about your job? Who cares? But some people like the dark shit.
Yeah, some people do. Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you hate about it? I hate watching people hate.
There you
They
go.
hate all day and they're vindictive and awful. And these were people in the most vulnerable position of confidence on the planet. And then they take all the vulnerabilities and use them against the person that shared them. It's disgusting. It traumatizes me all the time to watch them do it. And yet I ask my clients to do it sometimes because I need to do it because of the children's best interests. I need to know if they have like weird sexual proclivities or substance abuse issues or abilities because they were molested. So the job calls for it and
you got to do it.
I hate it.
What is one of your biggest failures and what did you learn from it?
Every fucking marriage I've failed, but I would do it again, baby. I'd fail those harder, faster, baby. Oh, what did I learn? Do it faster and harder. You're going to fail, you fail hard. Quit resisting failure. I resisted failure. They were not right. And I tried to brake check it over and get the fuck out. Everybody stays married too long. Everybody. Yeah. And why? Just relationships have a life cycle. We don't have to ride the bus till the wheels come off. Be like, thanks, that's great. Sex was great. You still look good. You can go get some other ass. Cool. Thank you. It was a good time. Let's co-parent from down the street.
There we go. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
God, one woman. I tend to be on the side of superficiality. I kind of am curious about Marilyn Monroe and what the world was like for a female that was worshipped for her physicality. But I'm not sure she's that smart, so I might just be wasting a lot of my lunch hour. And
we don't want to waste your lunch hour.
Yeah. So it would probably be, I don't know, some powerful judge, that we lost. Maya Angelou, maybe. I like some diversity in race. So I would probably want a perspective of somebody with more diversity than just being female in a time when we were oppressed. So someone like Maya Angelou or somebody. Okay. I like some poetry. Give me a little poetic version of that. So I'll choose her for the time being.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Buckle up, bitch. It's rough.
Lastly, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Marilyn.
No, that's it. It is. You got this, though. You got this.
If you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your corner of the world, your tribe, your people, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
God, probably something full of cuss words. But I don't feel like I had that much wisdom, but it'd probably be like, don't be a pussy. Seriously, it's tough and do the work. You have to do the work in life, be authentic. You have to be genuine. You need to have integrity because there's no shortcuts. I mean, look at everybody on the Centric or whatever that crap is to try to get skinny. I can't wait for the fallout. Didn't we already learn that from Fen? Like, you don't get free weight loss. I can't even wait. I don't wish ill on people, but stop with the shortcuts. You can't keep doing the fast food route in life and expecting to have bodies that come from freaking Whole Foods. Do the work. It takes the work to get the output. You get out what you put in. You really do.
Beautiful. Marilyn, thank you so much for this incredibly fun, enlightening, humorous, inspirational, and educational conversation. I appreciate you. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Okay. Happy Valentine's Day. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Marilyn York. She is an attorney and the owner and founder of Exclusive Family Law Office. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.